Hi everyone, good day. My name is David and welcome to another episode of the YouTube video. And in this video today, I'm going to be talking about three things, right? Basically just explaining and giving examples of style guides, design system, and component libraries. These three things are mostly used all the time and sometimes used interchangeably. The differences and the explanation of what they are can easily confuse anybody. So I'm just going to use examples from Figma to explain what that is. So basically, what we're looking at here is Figma community, right? So I'm just going to, the first thing is style guide. So I'll just go in and write style guide. That's the right spelling, STY guide. So I'll just go on and search style guide in Figma. And now what a style guide is basically just a set of rules of how a brand should be displayed. This is both visuals, imaginary, like the written contents, the kind of voice, the amount of tone involved, like how the brand is being told. Like basically that's what the style guide is, right? It's a document that just talks about and describes the design system itself, right? And how the products will look and feel. You must have heard that word a lot of time, like the spacing, the correct typography, all of that in between. So now a style guide, if I'll use one from here, I think this looks really nice. So I'll just use this guy to explain what it is. Now, a style guide is one of those documentations that as a designer you should always read first because it gives you a more intuitive, big English. It makes sense because it allows you to really understand what you're going into. It's like you not knowing the kind of Maggi you're using to cook food before you start cooking the food. So imagine now you want to cook, let's say, egusi or bono. Let's do white soup now. I really like white soup. So you want to cook white soup now, and you don't know the kind of Maggi you're using. Like you definitely know it's not Maggi. So you okay, maybe you know it's not Maggi, you know it's normal salt, right? Everybody thinks salt is salt, you know it's normal salt. You probably know the kind of meat, a system that explains all of this, like a system that explains this is not Maggi. Sometimes they come two joined together, sometimes they come one, depending on the type you buy. Then this is not Maggi chicken. We use not Maggi chicken for when there's chicken in the meat. Then we use not Maggi goat when there's goat in the meat. Now, a style guide it's just like a list that explains all of that. That talks about how the food. Now, this is where the voice and tone comes in, right? So let's go back and explain what the style guide is. Right. So this is not really the idea. So this is part of it. You can say, for example, that the neutral colors, primary color, accenting colors. All this is no. This you see this is a typical example of a component library being explained and being called a style guide. So this is not a style guide. It may seem as though, but this is basically just a component library. So now let's go back to this guy. This guy feels like a really good style guide. Yes, awesome. So now this is a good example of what a style guide is, right? This is a good starting point of what you should imagine a style guide should be. So from here right now, like you can see that this just has the logo, the mission statement, the logo mark construction, the core, the colors, the main colors. So this is why it's like this is the list of your understanding. For example, this is awesome. It has the fonts, right? And I'm very sure it has the typography scale. I did something a while ago. That is where I work now at Unko Oko. I don't know. I can't show it here, but I'll just paste a clip. You can pause and watch that clip and read what is there. Now, in that document, you explain the body, the regular, where it should be used, bold, where it should be used, medium, where it should be used, what kind of elements should you use it, what kind of elements or states should have regular text on it. Now, all those involved, all those things were they inside like this English sometimes just hard. All those things as a gather day like that, you can all call them a style guide. For example, this is a style guide because it talks about these things this way. Moving on to the next thing, component library, where most people confuse this for design system. Now, the design system is a gist that I would explain lastly, but then the component library is one. I'll use starter kit to explain what the component library is. You find out that people make a lot of mistakes and they carry what's a design system, the idea of a design system, and they feed it to a component library. There's a difference. If you look at them, you can just confuse both for you, but it's just a difference, right? It's like saying a student to cook jollof rice for you, and then you go out to a very fancy restaurant and you eat jollof rice. So like now, I'm not being stereotypical, but if a male student in the university cook jollof rice for you and a full-blown restaurant cook jollof rice for you, they look alike, but they are not the same thing. They may taste differently, but they are also not the same thing. Like they are both jollof rice, by the way, but they are not the same thing. That's an idea of like why people confuse a style guide for a design system. There's just more to it, and I'll get to why. So now this is example of a component library, source starter kit, right? The reason why I call source starter kit a component library because it has all these components inside, and it's a library. It's like a book library. A book is a library for book. A comic library is a library with comic. Component library is a library with components inside. So like these are many people associate this with design system itself. It's predominant. Big English. All this English is just hard. It has reusable UI components. It is used as like its basic building blocks. It's like the if you read at atomic design, right? It's like if you join all those components together, it's like the atom, the molecules, all of that, right? It's not the full design system. It is not the atoms, right? It's like at the molecule state where you're joining both atoms together to form one. Like for example, you're joining an icon. Like in this case now, we have an icon here and we have a text here. These things join together to form a button. It's a molecule. So you have, it's a component. There's a component library. It just houses all the components inside, different styles. So Source Attack is a very good component library that I use for most projects I work on. I shouldn't be sharing this, but who cares? And you can edit it yourself, make it out yourself. It's somebody who created it, is not mine. So let's give credit to who credit is due, right? Source design framework. Check out design framework. It's 2.0, 3.0 will be coming out soon. So yeah, that's just what a component library is. It's a library that houses components, and do not confuse this for a design system. Why? What exactly is this a design system? By definition, right? You can define a design system like it's a collection of documentations of principles and reusable component libraries. Like they have both clear standards of what they do and everything in between. And you think of them as like a mixture of different style guides, component libraries. Not different per se, but like a style guide, a component library all together. Now, a design system, the reason why I made reference of the jollof rice. The reason why there's difference between a male student cooking jollof rice and a jollof rice that's been cooked at a full blown restaurant is that I obviously will not put egg, half egg inside. I obviously will not put mendes, now all those edibles, all those small liver, all those things inside. I will not do that. I will not put too much onions. I will not put too much curry. I will use what I have to cook the jollof rice. But if you go to a full blown restaurant, right, they put in everything. So there's probably not chicken inside the chicken jollof rice. So there's chicken. You would chop the chicken. So there's all these things inside it. There's a mende inside. You see there's liver, there's kidney, all those things. There's towel all around the jollof rice. There's a chicken by the left hand side. The chicken is spiced. All of this is a full-blown design system itself. Now, a design system has all these things. If you look at what we have now, this is carbon design system, right? Now, it has a style guide. If you read this, all these are just company their explanation and documentation about the style guide. See your asset library. This is an example of how to even set up your asset library, right? This is an explanation of the type of tokens, the elements. This field is for company errors. Exactly something like this is what I did for the design system at Nkowoko. Now, this explains where all the elements are being used. It explains all the text, how they are being used, right? This is the beginning. But now, this is basically an example of what a design system is. So do not confuse what you are doing as a component library for a design system. Yes, it's easy to say it, because it's hard work. It's not an easy work to understand variants, but then it's not a design system. Having all this all structured out, having all this built out, you look at this page, see all this stuff, all these things here. This is what you call a design system. This is what you can define to be as a design system, right? And it goes way deeper than this. There's one thing they don't even have here is code snippet. A design system has code snippet. It's very important. It also talks about like it allows developers to understand, in their own language, this is what this looks like. You can't build a design system alone. It's just like going to you need code snippets to do explain certain things. You need the devs to build it with you because they are going to be creating their own library on the their own online library they can collect components from. So you can't just build it on your own. That's the difference about what a style guide is, a component library and design system. So if you've ever asked what's the difference between these things, or if you're ever confused, or somebody is trying to confuse you and showing you a component library as a design system or a component library as a style guide, you now know the difference of what the both of them are. So with that being said, and that comes to the end of this video. Yeah, thank you for sitting down. By the way, we have another episode of the podcast that'll be coming out soon, or that's already out. So check the link in the description, check the channel to know when that's out as well. With that being said, thank you very much for sitting to the end of this video and see you on the next one. Bye.